I get an ice cream drop, please? To go, please.
Regular size.
Yeah. Hi, I'll be sharing with you guys some of the things I've learned this year and some of the lessons that I've picked up in 2024. So I actually filmed this video a few days ago, but then it was blurry, like it was focused not on my face, and so I'm re-recording it again, but then today I forgot to bring the cable for my mic. So I think this video is just hasn't been going well, so I'm determined to actually record and finish it today. This is my boyfriend here.
Hello.
So I'm just gonna start off with the things I've learned this year, and then I think Aaron's gonna add some footnotes or additional comments. I think one of the first things I learned is it's okay to lean into your friends for support, whether that's emotional support or whatever you need in life. I feel like a lot of times I really put up a wall, or like I feel a need to kind of present myself as very put together and like not struggling at all. Don't break down in front of my friends. But I learned this year that it's very important to kind of be open and communicative with your friends, because that's kind of what they're there for, as well as your loved ones. They want to hear about your struggles and they want to be able to help you. And I think being able to kind of communicate those feelings and be vulnerable with my friends is something that I've learned this year, and also something that I want to continue to hone in the next year. The second thing I learned is that you can't use material goods to buy an identity. I feel like throughout university, especially since I was still kind of finding myself, finding my style, and finding who I am as a person, I used a lot of material goods as a way to shape that identity, whether that's buying clothes, fragrances, or accessories. And I kind of realized that that's not necessarily the most financially responsible, and it's also promoting sort of overconsumption. I noticed that consumerism is really prevalent, especially with social media. I feel like for some reason when I post TikToks, when I post like stuff about like, oh, this is my must-have makeup product, or like, this is like the best thing I've ever bought, it gets a lot more reaction and a lot more like eyeballs, because I feel like everyone just wants to buy something to fulfill a dream or fantasy, or like something they aspire to be. I feel like it's less for you, it's more for me, because my feed is all like beauty products or like.
I think it's similar because like for guys, it's like just different types of products, like watches or whatever, cars or whatever. More or less the same, just with like different substitute products.
Yeah, and so I think one thing I really want to work on is being more patient with the things I buy, like really thinking things through. It's another thing I learned. I feel like this year I try to focus more on social media and creating content. So I feel like one thing I really learned is to not let judgment or like a fear of judgment kind of stop you from creating content. I feel like just being here in a coffee shop and like filming in public's already pretty anxiety inducing to me, just because I don't know, like I feel really awkward, or like I'm scared people will judge me for something that I'm doing. That pressure is kind of all in my head, and at the end of the day, no one really cares. Like, I feel some of your friends have commented, like, oh, to me, like, said to me, like, oh, are you trying to do social media? And, like, I feel like the comments to me has always been positive, so I'm not sure why I have so much anxiety. At the end of the day, you only live once, and if you enjoy the process of creating or enjoy the process of doing a hobby, you shouldn't let anyone's opinion stop you from doing it.
It's been the best moment of your year, and why?
I really enjoyed our Japan trip.
Japan trip?
Yeah, and going home as well. Like seeing all my family and like having you meet my family members was like it's something very like heartwarming and endearing, and it's like just seeing everyone you love together is like a very nice feeling. Japan was really nice. I feel like I was looking forward to it since we booked the tickets. I swear, like it was like half a year almost. Like I feel like we talked about it before we even like.
We talked about it in April. We were literally sitting in this same exact spot when we bought the plane ticket.
I'm also really like, I guess this is not happy, it's more like of a proud moment of like me getting my internship in the summer. I feel like that really set me up, and like I learned a lot from it, and also like all the mentors I've met, and like everyone was so nice to me that like I'm a little less scared. Like it seems less daunting. You're particularly fond of?
I think getting Bandit, our cat, our new kitten, because so she had a cat, Bubbles, and he was more like a shy cat, very very scared of people, I think he was on the streets prior to Nicole adopting him. Bandit, like our new kitten, is a kitten, right? So like he's obviously gonna need more attention, more kind of care. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced this year, and how did you kind of overcome them, and what did you kind of learn from them?
Um, I feel like I had a really bad nervous breakdown right after my internship going back to school because I was concerned with finding a post grad role and also um, kind of thinking about law school and how long I should defer it for and stuff like that. I think that all kind of compiled and I just combusted at the start of semester. Yeah, it was start of semester. It wasn't something you could solve. It was more of like an emotional thing, I feel like. Um, I think it was also from that I kind of realized I have to rely, or like it's okay to rely on your friends and loved ones and family. Like it's okay to just be like, I'm not doing okay, like I'm so stressed, and like just tell them about stuff like this because I realize how much it helps, like talking about it and like leaning on my friends for support instead of like kind of isolating myself and creating this little bubble where I feel like I'm alone and like I have to do this alone. Like that always ends up with me feeling worse.
A lot of the times when you're like talking to like communicating with your friends and loved ones, yes, you're like kind of wanting to hear advice, but at the same time it gives you an opportunity to say what's on your mind, like clear your mind. And I feel like that helps a lot with self-reflection, studying for something, right? It's like it's gonna be more impactful if you kind of try and teach someone like the stuff that you're learning, right? Like when you're actually saying it out loud versus if you're just reciting it over and over in your head. It's always good to kind of communicate. Like humans are social beings, right? So like I feel like being able to communicate our emotions and feelings really helps with our kind of mental being. What are you hopeful for in 2025?
I feel like graduating. I'm graduating next year and that's pretty exciting. Also, it's my parents' and like my family's first time in Toronto, which I'm a little scared about. I feel like it might be a little bit of a culture shock in some aspects, but at the same time, it'll be nice to show them around what I call home now and like show them like my favorite coffee shops, like things I love to do, why I love the city. I feel like, yeah, that'll be great. I'm also excited about the transition from academics into the workforce. I feel like with it comes certain forms of freedoms that comes with being an adult, which can be scary and daunting because it means more responsibility and like the consequences all fall on you. But at the same time, I feel like it's the autonomy of it is pretty exciting and like something I can be proud of.
To add on to that, I think like when you kind of go out into like the real world, I feel like you have more autonomy, like you said, in terms of like making your own decisions and in a way owning the decisions that you make, because prior to that, like your parents make your decisions or your family makes your decisions or whoever, like your teacher or your professors. But when you kind of go into adulthood and get like your first job, it's kind of like you make your own decisions. Like if you make a mistake, that's on you. And like being able to own up to that, like it's kind of part of being adulthood. And I think that it's part of building character as well. Kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like kind of going into adulthood, you have more autonomy, but it means you have more kind of like opportunities to make mistakes.
Mistakes are just rooms. What's the saying? Like
Mistakes are just happy accidents. No.
mistakes. I don't know. There's this.
Yeah, I know. It's like by Bob Ross.
Mistakes are.
Insert quote.
What about you? What are you looking forward to in 2025?
For me, since I've already been working out of like graduating for a year, so I think for me it's really trying to find that rhythm within work. I think it can be oftentimes kind of difficult as like coming straight out of grad into a full-time role, to kind of adjust to that working lifestyle, but also getting like a rhythm in terms of how things work in your job. I think it's different from school, right? Like you kind of throughout the 4 years of undergrad or however many years is your undergrad in school, you kind of pick up like a rhythm, pick up kind of like a cadence in terms of how to study, how to, you know, like balance your life with school. But I think once work starts, it's kind of different, or it's very different. Trying to figure out, like, you not only have to improve yourself career-wise, but also your personal self. I really focused on kind of like improving my social aspects. So within like the next year, I think maintaining that, like keeping like a healthy balance between improving myself career-wise, but also like maintaining my social kind of relationship.
I think it's also kind of if your friends or the people you want to keep in contact with are also making the effort to do so. Because sometimes it's very hard to do it if the other person's not willing to also put in that effort to like coordinate a time or like put in the effort needed to maintain a relationship, I feel like.
Yeah. But I think like it takes two people
Yeah.
in a relationship. Like if nobody puts in effort,
Yeah, that's true.
then
It's like a
nothing's
group
gonna
chat
happen.
when no one replies to the first message.
I was gonna ask, what's something that you learned in our relationship that's
Oh, wow.
helped you?
Oh, okay, yeah. I feel like I learned a lot from you. Personality-wise, we have a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of differences that don't necessarily clash, but it's just how we do things or think of things. I feel like I'm very much the type to overthink and plan and everything and be very like things have to be this way, or I'll panic and freak out and be like, oh my god, it's not going to plan, like the world's ending. Whereas I feel like you have a set end destination, but you're more free on like how that path takes shape. Whereas I'm like, it has to be a straight line. And I like being okay with those bumps and those curves. I feel like it's something I learned from you.
I feel like it's the exact opposite when we travel though. Like when we travel
Oh, yeah.
and go on vacation, I love to plan like down to the minute. It's
fun.
it's not like everything has to be done, but like I just want to
Yeah.
fill everything.
He's the one who created an entire like Google Doc of like 3 p.m. X location.
Yeah.
4 p.m.
Because it's like, I feel like when we're going on vacation, like I don't want to just like sit around and like waste.
And that's for me when I travel. I'm like mind empty, like go with the flow. If we wander into a cute store, that's great. But I also have like set things I want to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm more lazy when it comes to planning for travel.
I think that's also something I learned from you, is just like sometimes in life, like the best things come unexpected. So it's just like not having to plan for like everything like during a trip, I think is I think is good. It's like swapped, yeah. But that's because like I think in life I'm kind of confident that things will go well, because I feel like you have to believe in yourself, you gotta trust in yourself, trust in your abilities, and if you do that, I feel like you're more inclined to be okay with going with the flow.
I feel like I think why I'm like more anxious is because I'm often not that confident in myself, and I'm more of a pessimistic. I feel like you're more of an optimistic person, which is something I really want to learn from, and like it's a mindset shift. So I always think of like the worst cases.
One thing I learned from you, and that's just more from just observing, is like I'm not the best at taking care of like myself in terms of like going to the dentist regularly and stuff like that. I like to procrastinate when it comes to like things that are related to like my personal life, in terms of like going to checkups regularly and stuff like that. And I think that's a very important aspect, like taking care of yourself. So I think that's something that I learned from you, like starting to go to like, you know, the dentist a lot more frequently and stuff like that.
Honestly, for me, it's not about taking care of self. It's more like because I know my insurance will run out every year, so I'm trying to maximize my insurance.
Well, yeah, like I knowing that as well, I still don't do it. So like, I think like, it's something that like I've learned, and it's something that's part of growing up as well, as like being able to take care of yourself, because you need to be able to take care of yourself first before you can take care of other people, right? So
thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys have like questions or things you want to talk about in terms of like what your goals for 2025 are, or the things you've learned this year, feel free to leave it down in the comments and I'll try to respond to all of them and engage in very philosophical and deep discussions with each and every one of you. So, yeah. Bye.